There's like nothing more painful and frustrating than trying to explain your emotions to a toxic person. So imagine this. It's like they have this toolbox and, it's full of all these toxic little tactics that they use. But it isn't filled with like grandpa's, hammers and screwdrivers. No, no, it's like, it's filled with like the infinity gauntlet. And every stone on that gauntlet is just a different shade of crazy. It's full of like, like gaslighting and projection and you name it. And you know what it's like? It's like, narcissists are possessed by the dark side of these just Jedi mind tricks. So knowing this stuff, knowing the little tactics, it's so crucial. It's like realizing that you're in a game of Jumanji and the only way out is understand the rules that these narcissistic, game masters are playing. Because, they can't help it. They just keep rewriting the script, rewriting the rules. And why? Because, I think somewhere in their minds, it's like they have that power to just rewrite the rules and they don't. And just when you think you figured them out, they just change the rules just like that. Boom. And the key to all these manipulation tactics that narcissists use is to make your sanity disappear faster than a set of car keys in like a junk drawer. And these tactics that narcissists use, like gaslighting, it's like their piece de resistance. It's like the crown jewel of a narcissist, web of lies. It's like they think that they're Houdini or something, but only this Houdini is their only thing that they're really good at is just making your grasp of reality disappear. Because that's what gaslighting does. Narcissists will say something, did I say that? You must be imagining those things. It's like they've turned life into a game of Twister. And you find yourself like bent over backwards and twisted, all trying to figure out where the truth is. Another tactic you gotta be aware of is just narcissistic projection. And narcissistic, projection is a lot like, starring in a movie where, they're the villain, but somehow you're the one that ends up on trial. And they can't process their own emotions, so they project them onto you. So they say things like, I'm not angry, you're the one who's angry. It's like, what? It's like being in a Kafka novel where, up is down and left is right. But the thing that stays the same is you always seem to be wrong. Another tactic to watch out for is just called blanket statement. These blanket statements are things like, you always do this. You never understand me. It's like they got a script from like a really bad soap opera. And you're like suddenly this unsuspecting guest star who's just been sentenced to just a lifetime of plot loops. Just poor characterization. Let's go into another tactic. Another tactic that narcissists use is just called diverting focus. It's something you got to kind of keep an eye on because they have this weird way of just playing like, where's Waldo? But Waldo is the truth, and it's suddenly hiding in plain sight. Because you be talking to a narcissist about something, and then, they could just stop the conversation. Says, why are we talking about what I did with your friend? Did something like it was way worse than that. And you realize these conversations where diverting focus is used, it's almost like being in a maze with no exit. It's like being trapped in a riddle that's, wrapped in enigma and then stuffed into a conundrum. Because that's what diverting focus does. You can't pin them down on anything. It's like they're Teflon. He just kind of slides right off of them. Now let's go into another tactic. This one's called minimalization. Minimalization is just taking big deals and trying to make them really small. Taking like a huge mountain that you may have and trying to reduce it to the size of a molehill. It's like, they imagine themselves or the problem as, a Lego brick and suddenly, you're Duplo. All it did was just kind of pushed you a little bit. Gravity's that fall. Gravity's the one that made you fall down. It's like they're trying to shrink wrap your emotions. But guess what? You're not a product on a narcissist shelf. You're not. Recognizing narcissistic tactics is like flipping on the lights in a haunted house and suddenly the ghosts just aren't as so terrifying anymore. And it's not about seeing the boogeyman for the first time. It's about refusing to invite the narcissist to the birthday party altogether. And be very careful. It's like knowing these tactics and calling them out are two completely different skill sets. Because every time you call out a narcissist, whether for their gaslighting, for their projection, for their blanket statements, for diversion or minimalization, you're taking back a slice of your sanity, a slice of your sanity pizza. Like you can know it, you can think it, but there's no point in sharing that with them. Because every time you call out a narcissist gaslighting, projection, and blanket statements, and diversion, any of this minimalization that they do, it's like you're taking back a slice of your own sanity. And knowing these tactics is incredibly important. But living them as you're in a conversation with a narcissist doesn't always help. So it's good to mentally keep in mind. It's like, yeah, this narcissist, they're gaslighting me, they're projecting. Oh, that's a blanket statement. Oh, that's a diversion strategy. Oh, that's minimalization. By noticing it and not responding, because it's about recognizing the crazy that there's trying to stir up in you, but at the same time, raise up your internal peace of mind, your internal strength. Because in the face of narcissistic manipulation, it's like your clarity, it's like your resilience, and your refusal to be minimized. Like this is your knowledge, this is your power. It's not about jumping deep into that narcissistic cesspool of sludge. It's about creating your own superhero story, your own origin story. Because as we kind of navigate through these narcissistic relationships, what we realize is that we're not just weathering a storm, we're learning to surf through the chaos and turning narcissistic little mind tricks into just kind of stepping stones to just a bigger and higher self and a more powerful and more aware self. Because these are childish games played by childish minds. And in this chaos, it's just like, just grab a surfboard. Just ride through these narcissistic, toxic little waves that they have. And yeah, the Joker has his whole bag of tricks. He's always full of all these delusions and plays all these games. But, Batman has his gadgets. And you've got this video. And inside this video, it's got all those labeling, all those tricks. So it's like, welcome to the Justice League of emotional well-being. Because recovery starts by understanding these manipulation tactics and not falling victim to them ever again. I do hope you found everything in this video really helpful. There are basically 2 steps in order to recovery. One is the cognitive part, and that's like watching videos like this and learning more about the disorder and all the little dysfunctions that happen in the background. And then the second part is more of the emotional part of recovery, which is the emotional integration. If you need more help with that, if you need more support with that, my name's Miles. If you're new to my feed, and I'm a hypnotherapist, and what I do is I help people just kind of calm their nervous system and make sense of kind of what it seems to be senseless. But once we kind of make sense of everything, we get our lives back, and we get our confidence back, we get joy back, we get all of those things back. So if that's something that you're interested in, you can type in Narcovery recovery, and I'll post a link to my recovery program. And thank you so much for watching, and watch out for more videos.